Well, it's been 6 years since our last update, so I suppose it's about time that we get back to it. I think we left off on this HP server fan. I did pick up this Amatec Rotron to 20,500 RPM little guy. It's in great shape for the price I got it for, which is really cool. I wanted to show this one off. But before I do that, I wanted to give a shout out to my biggest fan. I've had a couple of fans come through my life in the last 6 years, but this is my biggest fan. And this fan has stood out amongst all the other fans in that it's been there through some difficult times, and yeah, it gets dirty. It doesn't mind. It may get dropped, and it's just been a really good fan. So I wanted to give this fan a shout out. In all seriousness though, I didn't wait 6 years between videos just to give an update on fans. I think it's time that I start possibly making videos again. It's been a while and some things have changed, which we'll talk about, but yeah, I guess 6 years ago would have been 2018, so that's pre-COVID. I would consider COVID to be a milestone in a lot of people's lives. You know, we kind of have these major milestones in life as we go through, and I'm young enough that you know, Nirvana, Y2K, 9/11, Space Shuttle Columbia, Fast and Furious were some of the early milestones in my life. And then yeah, fast forward a bit to 2018, and of course in 2019 COVID hit. I got in a pretty bad car accident. But most importantly, I did find Jesus. I was in a pretty rough spot in life, and I was pretty riddled with anxiety and worried about my health and not in control of a lot of things that I was trying to be in control of, and that caused a lot of issues in my personal life. But thankfully Jesus did find me and meet me there, pulled me up out of the pit, and so for the last 6 years it's been an ongoing sanctification, and things have been getting better, and I've learned a lot, and I've had to learn how to, you know, how to type again because my arm was effectively cut off and bolted back on. I had to try to learn how to play the saxophone again. That's where the name Magnet Fingers comes from. I found that I could put magnets on my fingers and keep them on the keys because I couldn't feel them. But yeah, I don't want to just make a channel about how good Jesus has been. Of course he's been good to me, and I need to share that. But I think there are enough channels of evangelists out there that I'm not going to add to that by just filming videos and sharing the gospel. So I think what's on my heart is that I'd like to try to share some of my skills that I can and potentially help people. Maybe there's some things that I've fixed that others have been trying to fix, and I can try to help with that, and then maybe I'll sprinkle some words of wisdom throughout the way. So first of all, the decompression table that I was working on before I stopped the videos, I kind of had to put that on hold. My back got worse, and I ended up having to get a spinal fusion. So my back's held together with titanium now, so I really don't need a decompression table any longer. But I do have all the pneumatics, and that was something that I thought was pretty cool about, you know, these electronically controlled air transducers, and how potentially maybe I could build a speaker using air, kind of like the old airline earphones, if you remember those. But so that's just a thought I had, and one of the things I'd like to do. Another thing I'd like to do is I've got a bunch of components that have failed from some form or another, and I'd like to go through and maybe do a post-mortem analysis on those and see what caused those to fail. And I've started making hot water and pizza. I'd like to share those recipes, so I'll film some videos on that. Maybe sprinkle in some music. So that's the plan. But all of that starts with having a workplace that is clean. That's something my dad taught me, that, as you can see, I didn't quite get the memo, that if you want to have a successful project, you need to start with a clean workspace. But more importantly, I need to start with a cool workspace. So I've got this air conditioner. I picked out the cheapest, most practical one possible that had some good efficiency, and I plan on getting this plumbed in. It is a dual tube input output, And I'd like to get that plumbed up through the attic and out the soffits. So that'll be a bit of a Apollo 13 project there to get that going. My thoughts there, I don't want to punch through the outside wall that's all brick. I'd rather go through the soffits where those are nice and easy to work with. So, and that prevents me from having to install a full mini split, which those are really nice, but those are also really expensive. So this thing only cost about 600 bucks, and it's quite efficient. It's got a heat pump, so it should keep it nice and comfortable all year round. So that'll probably be the first big project I tackle, is to get this thing cooled so it's comfortable out here, so I can start shooting some of these videos. So yeah, for my 12 loyal subscribers, thanks for sticking around, and hopefully I'll have some interesting videos coming up, and I'd like to do them at a little bit of a faster clip than every 6 years. So yeah, God bless.